The south of the Divide is kind of unique in that it's got probably the last refuge of large tracts of native prairie in it. So there's less than 25% of the land base is actually cultivated, and that's the home for the species at risk. And it's more than just one. Like in our action plan, we've got 13 different species that we're targeting, including things like the swift fox, Sprague's pipit, McCowan's logspur, northern leopard frog. There's even a racer in there, which is a little snake. This is a really unique part of the province, and that's why we're focusing limited resources on it. Obviously, the goal of the whole action plan is to recover the species at risk. Because we're an agency that's directed by multi-stakeholders, we have to achieve that balance between economic development, community, lifestyle, ranching culture, tourism. All these things that are a part of the Southwest have to be taken into consideration when we're making management decisions on species at risk.
This down here, there's a lot of native prairie in the Frenchman Valley. When we looked to come down here and put a well in, originally it was progged to be off up into the native prairie. Because this was already cultivation down here, we looked at the possibility of drilling it from an area that was already cultivated. With drilling and geology looking at it, and it worked, so we moved it into cultivation. Basically to stay away from the native prairie where we could.
One of the things that we wanted to do was to investigate, what are the BMPs that are out there and how are they being utilized, but in reality, this is a highly regulated system, and the industry works with the regulators, and they try to achieve the minimum impact as possible. So the companies are actually adhering to the regulations that the governments are setting forward. So.
First of all, usually when we have a location, we will run a CDC map to see if there's any species at risk that show up on that. And if they do show up, we do have environmental companies that we do have that we employ to come out and do assessments of it. And from that point, if they're in the area and we have to move from that area or do it within the time frames that is allowed in the buffer zones that we have to work with.
From an industrial angle, when you're doing your planning, you've got to make sure that you know where the potential spots are of critical habitat, and probably design your plans to relocate or redesign or avoid the damages. There isn't one simple solution. It means strong collaboration between the stakeholders and people understanding the requirements of industry, of ranching, of community, and of the species at risk.